Hello, I'm Scott with Shoms Photography, and I'm going to talk about a new purchase. So I bought a new camera. A friend of mine, Brian, went up to the camera store Friday and bought himself a new camera, and I asked him to bring it over so I could check it out because I was planning on buying a new camera anyway, and it was going to be another 5D Mark IV. But then he brought this one over and I really liked it. So Saturday I went up and bought the Canon EOS R. So here we have the Canon EOS R. I watched all the videos, reviews and stuff like that before I went and picked this up. And there was lots of pros and a few cons. So I looked at the cons and I was like, well, none of those affect me anyway, so I don't care. So one of the cons was the crop factor on the 4K. I don't shoot video really anyway, so I don't really care. The single card slot. Well, you know, I shoot film. I only have one roll of film in the camera at a time. So again, the same thing could happen to film as it could happen to this card. And I don't shoot all my pictures onto one card. So in the middle of the shoot, I will pull the card out and I will drop in another card. Because again, you don't throw all your eggs in one basket. So again, that didn't affect me. Built-in image stabilizer. Well, you know what? My film camera didn't have built-in image stabilizer, so, and neither does the lenses, so I guess that really didn't affect me again. I guess basically most people are complaining because they're videographers, I guess, I don't know. And wedding photographers, they just would like to have that backup, that extra security. Again, you can tether this to a tablet and shoot your RAW files on here and JPEG files onto that transfers over to the tablet for that extra redundancy. But if you don't need it, you just don't need it. Now I did buy this with the grip because 95% of the time I shoot portrait. So it just made sense to have the grip. Instead of me reaching over the top, it's just right there. Bam, bam, bam. Plus, if you ever seen the RF lenses, so here is an RF lens right here. Now I bought the kit because I wanted to check the control ring, but this lens is a beast. Now, the 50mm was back weighted. This one is front weighted. So this is the 24-105, but the 50mm was back weighted. So it actually was a little bit more stable than this lens here. But that's another reason why to have the grip, is because again, counterweight, just that form factor. Now when you add the grip, it changes this a lot to be a bigger camera. Again, this is not a small camera as it is, but with the grip it makes it a lot bigger. This grip did come with a Usbc charger, and that's just going to sit on the shelf because I'm never going to use it. Because I went to test it out, and when it started charging, it only charged one battery at a time. So that means it's going to take 4 hours to fully charge both batteries in this grip. When I can just take the batteries out and stick them into the wall chargers and then have them done in 2 hours, in half the time, because I'm charging both batteries at one time. Now, your shutter speed is 8, 5, and 3. Depending on what you have set up in the menu system for your shot. That doesn't affect me at all because again, I shoot, wait for my shot, I shoot, I wait for my shot, and I shoot. If you are a spray and gun shooter, well, then this camera is not going to be for you because it's just not a fast enough shutters in there. So for that spray and gun. So for me, again, since I'm a one-shot shooter type of person, perfect. Now, I've got the native lens here so I could test the control ring out in the front, which I have ISO set up on that one. So I can adjust my ISO on the fly because there's no designated ISO button on here. And I did try setting it up on this little touch dial thing, but I kept hitting it on accident and finally disabled this completely because, again, it's just in the wrong spot. It could have been a joystick or a dial there instead of that little slidey thingy. I guess there is a lockout feature for that, but again, I'm wasting time to unlock it just to change something. Where I can actually, since this came with the EF adapter and I have a 20 to 35 EF lens on here and does not have the control ring, I can actually hit the multifunction button up here and I can actually turn the dial and can change my ISO that way, quick and easy. So there's two different ways I can adjust it, if I have an RF lens or if I don't have an RF lens. So this adapter can house either an EF or an EFS lens on here. This is the basic one they're giving away free. I tried getting the ND drop-in ND filter one, but they didn't have any stock, so I had to order that online, and hopefully that'll come in soon because I wanted to buy everything at one time. But this adapter doesn't affect any image quality or anything. And with this lens on here, this actually pulls focus quicker than any of the other EOS cameras I have. The 5D Mark IV, the 5D Mark III, the whatever. It pulls focus so fast on this camera compared to the other ones. I don't know why, but it just does. I have my back screen set up to touch and drag. If you are a left eye shooter, that's not a good thing because your nose is going to hit that screen and move your focus point quicker than you can blink an eye. So now I have to be a right-eyed shooter with this camera to get that where my nose is not touching that screen. And another thing is on the touch and drag, every time I put my eye up here and I went to get past my nose to get to the other side of the screen, I'd have to move my eye away from the viewfinder, and then therefore it would change my screen from viewfinder to this screen, and I just didn't like that. So I had to set up the function where now this button here, my exposure button, changes from the back screen to inside. And then if I want to view my last picture, which I turned that thing off, I don't need a 2-second preview of the last picture I took. But if I wanted to see it, all I have to do is hit the play button and I can view my last picture in the viewfinder without having to remove my eye and waste time. Again, I'm really liking this form factor. Another thing that came with this kit is this tethering cable connector. So when you go to lift this up, you screw this in and this little piece here disconnects. You run your cable through it. You snap that back in, drop your cable in there. You never have to worry about your cable pulling out or damaging the USB-C port. So again, thanks to Canon, great little free item with that. This is the adapter case that comes with it. The only thing that's in there now is the front and rear cap covers for that lens adapter. The Wi-Fi, it's a different hurdle compared to the 5D Mark IV, tethering it to the tablet or the computer or whatever. So there's more steps you have to go through with this camera than you do with the 5D Mark IV. So, but again, once it's connected, it's connected. Again, like I said, you can shoot your RAW files and JPEG files on here, have it tethered to a tablet, and send over your JPEG files over there for your redundancy. Again, this tablet is specifically for the studio setup because it controls everything in the studio. So it controls the screen, the sound system, the lights and the strobes, the lights, everything. The trigger, it controls everything from this tablet, which I really like. Having all that new modern technology that we didn't have years ago. So that's always a plus. So I always look at what people would say are cons. They don't affect me again. because again, I'm coming from the film era where we didn't have high-speed sync. We had ND filters. Again, I've always explained that the ND filter it's better to have an ND filter than shoot high-speed sync due to the fact that you're eating more power from your strobe and you're losing power compared to if you were just shooting 1-to-1 power or half power. So I'm getting more power out of my strobes because I'm not shooting high-speed sync. So again, this is the Canon EOS R camera. I really like it so far. I don't think there's any downfalls that to me, besides that, sure, they could have got rid of this LED screen and put a dial up there instead. Sure, they could have got rid of this and put a joystick in there. Well, could have, but they didn't. And I bought the camera anyway. Again, so far I'm really liking it. And it's my first shoot will be this Thursday with this camera, with a subject. So I can't wait for that. Again, my name is Scott with Shoms Photography, and thank you for watching.